Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Ethereum and the fact that it is continuing to push higher, essentially hour over hour at this point. We are approaching $1,700. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So, it's doing more or less what we would expect, right? It's following in Bitcoin's footsteps. We said once it breaks 1500, it's sort of like a huge milestone similar to Bitcoin breaking 20K. Okay, and we expected Ethereum to really pick up steam after breaking 1500, and you can see it's already done that fairly quickly at this point. Again, if we were to go back and look at the BLX and look to see what happened once Bitcoin got above 20K, how long did it take for it to continue to move up? Well, one thing we can do is say, well, let's take a look here. This is the date where it moved above it. From the 20K mark, which is what we're saying is equivalent to, say, Ethereum's 1500. Let's go out a week. So it took it about 3 days to go up 20%. So about 3 days later, the price of Bitcoin had gone up 20%. So let's suppose that Ethereum, 3 days after breaking 1500, we talked about this the other day, what would it put it at if it were also to go up 20%? Well, here's where it broke, but we got to measure it from 1500, which was right here. So measuring it, whoops, that's not what I want. So we're going to go to 1500. And we're going to say a modest 20%. So 20%, which is what Bitcoin did over the next 3 days, would put it around $1,800. And it doesn't even seem like it's that far-fetched, right? It's 3 days would be our third day. So we're assuming that February 2nd is when we broke through. So this would be February 3rd. We're on February 4th now. So we're looking at, potentially in the next day, if it were to emulate Bitcoin, we'd be looking at an $1,800 Ethereum. However, we also have to remember that we don't want to sell Ethereum short in the sense of we expect it to almost outperform Bitcoin, right? I mean, again, it's more volatile to the downside and the upside. So it's possible in the same way. And let me give you an example, right? So here, Bitcoin or Ethereum, when it had this nice correction, it dropped about 32%. But when Bitcoin had a drop, and let's look at this. This was from January 10th through January 11th. So if you look at Bitcoin from January 10th through the 11th, it was right here, and to the next day, Bitcoin dropped around 26% compared to Ethereum's 32%. So we might almost expect it. Again, it's not financial advice, and again, no one really knows what's going to happen in the short term. But if it were to continue to be a more volatile version of Bitcoin, right? The idea is one market cycle behind Bitcoin, then maybe it could even push higher than that. And go up to a $1,900 Ethereum in the not so distant future. Obviously, the $2,000 mark would be pretty symbolic for Ethereum, and we don't necessarily have to stop at 2K. We like to keep things down to earth here, so you might wonder, well, why it's been throwing out these crazy numbers? It's because they're actually not that crazy, right? We're actually comparing it to what Bitcoin did, and the idea is, well, Ethereum's a slightly more volatile version of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin stays relatively healthy, then I don't think there's necessarily anything precluding Ethereum from continuing to climb the ranks. Now, if Bitcoin, we know that Bitcoin went up 2x from 20K, it went up more than 2x, that put it at 42K. If Ethereum went up 2x from 1500, I mean, that's $3,000. Obviously, things are getting really testy at that point. We'll see what happens, right? Every week is so different. A week ago, the price, let's go back, let's just look back here a few times. So 10 days ago, or say 7 days ago, the price was around $1,300. 14 days ago, the price was around $1,400. But 21 days ago, the price is closer to around 1,000. And then 28 days, it was around 1,100, and then obviously if you go say like 35 days, you're looking at 700. So the market can change so quickly, right? We look at these moves. I remember, do you guys remember watching the videos that I did like last year in early 2020, talking about, Ethereum price predictions to get to $700, $800, and at the time it's like, how could this happen? And now we're twice that, right? We're twice that, and those were like shorter term price predictions. Obviously, I think for the grand scheme of a market cycle, that Ethereum can trend much higher than where it currently is. But the question is well, how high can it go before it sees a pretty impressive pullback? Because we saw Bitcoin go to 42K, and this is what you guys need to keep an eye out for. So Bitcoin went to 42K, and then it ultimately dumped 30 or almost 30% here. Ultimately ended up dumping over 30% down to this wick. And so this is what we saw this. We experienced this. So eventually we'll probably see a blow off top for Ethereum as well. The question is, it'll likely see a more than a 30% drop whenever it does have its blow off top. It's short-term blow off top, maybe a micro bubble within the grand scheme of a macro bubble. It'll probably be more than a 30% drop. The question is, where will it occur? Okay, where will it occur? If it occurs today, which I don't think it will, but if it did, a 30% drop from here is still $1,100 Ethereum. Which is kind of crazy that a 30% drop is still over $1,100, closer to $1,200 Ethereum. But imagine the blow off top is still, let's say the blow off top is at the end of February, and we're not talking about the blow off top again for the entire the entire market cycle. We're just talking about a local top. If it were, let's say the end of February or something, maybe the price of Ethereum by that point is close to $3,000, and if it dropped 30%. It could bring it down to $2,000. Or if it drops, say, 35% or 40%, maybe it brings it back down to the current valuation. So it's amazing that, in the not so distant future, maybe a month from now, it's possible that a $1,600 Ethereum is actually bearish because of what might happen between now and then, right? I mean, if Ethereum goes to 3K or something and then drops back down to 1,600, then that will then become a bearish price, according to most, for Ethereum. The market has a way of really changing our perception. So we need to be on the lookout for a blow-off peak, blow-off short-term peak, okay? Again, this is probably going to be, whether you believe in lengthening cycles or four-year cycles, it still has a ways to go, theoretically speaking, in the grand scheme of the market cycle. So what I would say is ultimately we need to look for similarities between, if we can find similarities between, say, Ethereum and Bitcoin, maybe we can try to better identify when the blow-off peak is going to occur. For instance, at the end of Bitcoin's move, we essentially saw it moving up. The last 3 days, it moved up 9% and then another 7%. And then, from candle to candle, 5%. Here was another one down here from candle open to close with 7%. So maybe when we see day after day after day of 8%, 10%, 12%, if you get like a week of that or something, it might be getting close. But again, we saw some moves like that down here, 9%, but some of these were much smaller candles. So if we were to go to the present day and look at Ethereum, this candle, the candles we're printing now, so this one is 10%, this one is 10%. If we keep printing these for another week or two, you want to be very cautious. I mean, you should already be cautious now, but again, I would say to get somewhat cautious if we continue this path for a few more weeks, or even maybe not even that long. So we'll see how high it can go. Obviously, a 2x from 1,500 would be 3K. If it goes there and we correct by 40%, it could bring us back down to the current prices. Remember, we do have the premium list sale. We're calling it an altcoin season sale, so make sure you check that out if you've been looking for a time to get in. Now's the time. So check it out in the description below. You get access to the risk dashboard, which is what I use to trade. I know I talk about short-term stuff on here. I don't really know anything what's going to happen in short term. I just stick to the risk levels, which have served me well. So I will just stick to those. If you want access to that, check out the premium list. You can find the sale in the description below. You also get access to the alerts channel on Telegram, which a lot of people seem to like. The chat room on Telegram, premium videos, premium reports, premium live streams, the whole 9 yards. Check it out, intothecryptoverse.com, or for the link to for the sale, check out the description below. That'll wrap it up for the video. Maybe we'll see a $1,700 Ethereum here in the not so distant future. If that happens, and we continue higher, and things get crazy here over the next few weeks, be pragmatic about the market. Don't let it get to your head. Don't think that it has to go up forever, because we will have corrections here and there, just like we have for Bitcoin, right? Just like we had for Bitcoin, and obviously right now Bitcoin looks okay. It's back at almost 38K. But remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. These are not necessarily day trading type moves, but we'll see where it takes us. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.